this is such a great lesson. I haven't done anything to change my eternal holiness. I only think I have. My holiness remains a part of me as I am part of you, and my mistakes, the mistakes I've made about myself, they're simply dreams. I often say this about dreams. There's such a good example. The Course uses this idea of a dream. We've fallen asleep to our reality. I've said this many times. The creation story in the Course is this, that a mad idea entered the mind of the Son of God at which he remembered not to laugh. And the mad idea was that you could be separate from your Creator, that you could be unlike your Creator, and that you could be unlike your brother. And that's just something we need to laugh at. It's impossible that what created us would make something unlike itself. So that love that created us like itself is what we are. We cannot be anything but that. And so it's that insanity, but it says, here's what happened. You believed that you could be separate from your source, which could never happen, and you dwelled a little too long on that. It's like when there's a mistake, and oh, this is so silly. What a silly mistake. Well, let me look at that mistake again. Well, I am that is like me. Oh. And then all of a sudden we think we are that mistake. And it becomes real and have real consequences, as the Course says. And it says what we need to do is look at this yet once again and recognize what we thought is not the truth. And so the Course talks about it being like a dream, where if you ever fall asleep at night and you have a nightmare, have you ever been lucid in your nightmare? Mm-hmm. We all have. We've all had this experience where we're having a terrible thing going on in our nightmare, and then a thought enters our mind that this is just a dream. You ever had that? We all have. And what do? Once that happens, what happens to the dream? What happens to the nightmare? Now, maybe you don't wake up, but what happens? The power of that dream that it has over you is no more. It cannot make you that scared because it's not true. That's what the Course is like. Into this dream that we think is so real, or I should say the nightmare, he has entered a thought of love. That's what the Holy Spirit is into our minds. And that thought, if we turn to it, can help us to know who and what we are, the holiness that abides within us. And that is how we awaken, because we look at the nightmare and we realize, you have no power over me anymore. And that's the beginning of enlightenment. That's the beginning of awakening. And you say, but I don't do it all the time. It doesn't matter. The fact that you introduced it, light has entered darkness, and darkness is no more. Even a pinhole of light is enough to take away darkness.